I'm here today because I want to talk about my passion for fighting games. If you hadn't already noticed that I might have a passion for in the first place, based on some of the stuff that I talk about in my older videos. Unlock is Street Fighter V. Street Fighter V, a game that I talk about quite a lot. Third Strike. So because I kind of like fighting games, the first thing we're actually going to talk about, which I just previously mentioned, is Third Strike. And well, I've always felt like fighting games are just unfairly treated by a lot of people. Generally because getting into them on a base level is harder to understand than just playing like a first-person shooter, for instance. Alrighty, let's see. I've never played this game before, so... Yo, hang on a second. Yo, hang on a second, dude! What do you mean I don't just press the B button and hold a direction? Are you kidding me? Man, fuck this game! But in the same way you progress in a fighting game, it's the same way that you progress in your accuracy and overall skill level over time in a first-person shooter game. You just do it a bit differently. And I guess it really depends on the mindset of the type of person that you are really to get engaged with something like this. But let me say it right now, I do still think fighting games are for everybody, even if everybody's not really willing to pick them up. It's just something that you gotta see that looks really cool to you, and that's kind of what makes you feel obligated to try one out. I'd like to talk about a brief history of my personal experience and why I personally became super involved with fighting games in the present day, because I think it's a really good way to get people to understand where I'm coming from. My youngest memory that I can remember playing any type of fighting game would be more of the platforming fighting game, Super Smash Bros. And from my youngest memory, it goes all the way back to about 2004. I remember playing it on the GameCube with my brother and my cousin over at my cousin's house. I also remember younger me playing a lot of Mortal Kombat 3D era games like Armageddon. Those were a lot of fun as a kid. I've replayed those games. They're not very fun in my opinion anymore. Then it finally came to about 2008, 2009 I believe. On December of that year we got Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And we played that game all the time. Like, I remember we played that game for like 4 or 5 years straight. Like, guests would come over and we would play that game all the time, like always. That game was great. I remember some of the custom stages with like the spikes and you just infinitely beat the shit out of each other instead of these like spiky arenas you don't really get knocked out of. Eventually you just like explode or some shit. It was pretty crazy and a lot of fun. I remember that. A lot of people quite fondly remember Brawl, actually. If I recall, it's the best-selling Super Smash Bros. Game aside from now Ultimate. For a while after that, I hadn't played fighting games for quite a couple of years actually, but in about 2014, 2015, I cannot remember which year exactly, I really got into Super Smash Bros. Esports, and I think that's right when I really started to get into fighting games.
Okay, dude, this corner. Okay, this is big. This is really big.
You know how hard how can you tech chase in this situation?
Yeah,
it's so
dude.
impressive.
And he got the forward. Great tech from Armada. Oh, that drill was, oh!
Wait a second, he's still alive.
Okay, goes low, gets the side B, and he misses his ledge dash.
That's it.
Swedish beats Armada 2-1.
Not necessarily as playing them, but because Smash Bros. Was such a simple concept as a game, my brother was already very big into it. It helped me adjust into it as well, and I really got into the esports scene. While I was having fun with that for a few years, I started working a job in about 2018 at a Boys and Girls Club, and while I was there, I had this friend named Jeremy, and we used to talk about stuff all the time, fighting games. He introduced me into so many fighting games, like so many Street Fighter side series that I didn't know exist or anything like that. When I was younger, the only one I ever played was Street Fighter 4. I can't remember when, but it was Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. Was free on the Xbox 360, and I absolutely adore that game. And he had introduced me into all these other series like EX, Alpha. He showed me what Third Strike was. While we were cleaning up one time, at work, we listened to the Third Strike soundtrack, and I was like, this shit sounds awesome. He was like, yeah, it's the soundtrack to Street Fighter 3, Third Strike. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. He showed me what Guilty Gear is, which is now one of my all-time favorite fighting game franchises, and was also featured in the intro of this video, including First Strike, Third Strike, which was the first video, and Guilty Gear was the second video in the intro. And ever since then, like, I got my own PC in 2018. It was a gaming laptop, and I picked up Street Fighter V while it was on sale, and that's when I really started experiencing my own fighting game. And I was fucking awful. Just like everybody else who like picks up fighting games at their first time, you're just purely awful. I played a lot, and I just lost and lost and lost and lost, you know? You just keep losing, and that's kind of what it's all about at first. The difference between a fighting game and like a shooting game is that the only person you can rely on is yourself, and because the game isn't so simple, you're almost building up a discipline inside of yourself to continue to do matches and to want to get better. Some people will lose so much that it'll make them not want to play the game anymore because they just want to be able to pick the game up and do really well. Well, in games like this, that's what the training mode's for, you know? Over time, you get better and you get stronger. Much like real martial arts and real fighting, using that training mode and spending time in that training mode will ultimately make you a better player. Playing in real matches obviously will get you better at blocking and teching or doing whatever mechanics the game has to offer, but pulling off the actual combos and punishes that you need to do really come with using that training mode. And I know that can really be a hard spot for people to get into. If I was a kid back in the day, it definitely would have been a lot harder for me to get into fighting games. Because nowadays, when I go into training mode, I can just watch YouTube while I'm, you know, practicing combos and stuff. I can look up a combo online and then start trying to imitate it, and I can watch another video in the background and keep myself calm for like an hour and a half, just consistently pressing the same buttons until I'm consistent at it. That's the thing, you gotta have that consistency, you gotta have the want to do it. And that's why I think fighting games are for everybody, but you just gotta find that game that's for you. So where I'm at currently is I've been playing a lot of Guilty Gear Strive because the animation is super fucking awesome, and that's what really made me get into that game. But enough of my ramblings, now I think it's time to get to the real meat of the video, and that's the different topics that I'm going to cover, including esports and the actual fighting games themselves.
I don't know too much about this guy. I know he's from Brazil, and the competition in Brazil isn't all that great compared to Europe and Japan and America.
I would expect, you know, sometimes you see them just finish the combo and wait till the Ultra's gonna kill. But he's gonna go for it right now. Try to put the nerves in the Snake Eyes.
Oh, okay, this is it. Either way, either way. Oh,
There it is! 2 tornado throws in a row!
what a comeback. That
Whoever wanna see left and looking dumb, throw your money on the line, cause I'm making some.
That's an up smash. And a 5-0. Right now, Chillin gets dethroned. He is not using this color fox anymore.
You forgot to shower, you forgot to eat, you even forget to take a piss. Keeping up with those habits continuously will have you looking like this guy.
That it is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. He's going to Ultra 2 and land.
There's
Just
no
Ultra
way.
2. Oh, he doesn't have Ultra. I'm sorry.
I'm getting a little. You're getting too high.
And that's it. That's it. And Jay is popping off. He is popping off right now.
What's truly beautiful about most fighting games is that every character can be played in several unique different ways. This means that somebody can show up to a tournament and play a character entirely differently in the way that you do, even though they all have the same moves. Much like an actual anime arc, real-life fighting game tournaments tend to go out the same way. All people from all over the world and all different walks of life all show up in one building to compete against each other at the highest potential possible. What I showed in the intro to this section was 3 different story arcs among 6 different players. Sometimes the story arcs can happen because of a few different sets within tournaments themselves, or some of them can happen just because some people are fighting online and the other one ends up getting a little upset. Overall, that turns into a money match and those 2 fight over it, or they end up meeting in tournament and the saga continues. It's never entirely clear when a saga amongst players will actually end. For instance, the players Go1 and Sonic Fox constantly competed against one another in Dragon Ball FighterZ's at the grand finales at just about every single championship. Where it came down for Sonic Fox always being known for being a top player amongst other games and other communities, especially the NRS community around this time, Go1 was a more underground player, playing a lot more unknown fighting games on the main stage. So, when Go1 finally successfully beat Sonic Fox in the grand finale of a tournament at this game, it was only that much more humbling of an experience to watch.
It's Dragon Ball. It always runs a little bit over.
All right. Oh, wow. Actually, GT Goku ate the hit, and this is going to give Goichi the first blood in this grand final.
He's going to string him up. The auto combo Sonic Fox knew. Oh, missed the air dash loop. That's big.
Auto combo. Still in Sparking 2.
Side switch.
It's the 2.
Self set up the level 3. Takes him a bar to do it, but I think he stayed on the ground. He wanted to challenge. That's the kill also, by the way. So he wanted to challenge Sonic Fox running up behind GT Goku assist. He hits diagonal up. So instead, Sonic Fox is putting in work. Goichi, he has it available. Yeah, throws the javelin. This gives you a setup when you time it like that. Kid Goku left. The game is far from over. Sparking's still available for Goichi. The scary thing, though, yeah, backing up in the beginning. Whip! That was scary. If Sonic Fox got the hit, he was dead. Yeah, you got a spark. You can't quit playing around. Calls out the reflect. Fox air to air.
Yo,
in the front again. Sonic with a 2-hit. Oh my god. No cancel in the front. Sparking's running out. Goichi.
Oh, the Dragon Rush. He knew it was coming.
He went for the power pull. Extend. Try to get as much damage as possible. He builds one bar. This should be the kill. Level 1. Goichi brings it back.
We're
a fuzzy there. Didn't go for it. The challenge.
Nice challenge.
Yeah, I thought he might side switch, but he's just going to take the corner carry anyway. Bardock with the extension on the assist. Going to take him coast to coast. Level 3. Goichi up back. The assist hits and the confirm with the long jump M. That should be the kill, and it looks like we're all tied up to a piece.
Goichi bringing it back. Losing those first 2 games.
Gonna go for the air throw. Mix up.
Almost had a conversion. He air dashed forward. Almost got caught. Good defense. Both sides. I'm blocking both sides now.
Mystic Ball. Okay. This is huge. Sonic Fox goes for the reset, the challenge. Goichi was ready for it. He brings him up. This is it. Drop him. Keep it simple. There it is. Goichi, your Dragon Ball FighterZ 2019 EVO champion.
After overcoming hand injury, he's in tears up there, defeating Sonic Fox to claim victory here.
This tournament was absolutely incredible to watch live, especially if you were watching the whole tournament, because there was a lot of suspense there. Because Sonic Fox and Go1 had actually met each other in bracket earlier in the exact same tournament in the winners section. And honestly, that guy deserved the victory that he got. Like, just look at the tears in his eyes. I cannot imagine the amount of pressure that was on him, and especially how amazing that feels to win in front of that many people. If anyone definitely deserved to win that year, it was certainly him. The most important part of any video game that's ever existed is the actual control and feel of doing things in said video game. If doing said things in the game don't feel good to do, then you probably won't play the video game. The most enjoyable part about playing a fighting game is the discovery phase and actually figuring out how to do things with your character, not learning how to play neutral, because let's be honest, a lot of people don't give a fuck about neutral. That's just the truth. The real meat of the game is how good does it feel, and how good does it feel to do stuff in the game. So the discovery phase, where you're figuring out how to press buttons with your character, is really the most enjoyable part for a majority of people. That's what really brings you into the game. If it doesn't feel good to do stuff in the game, then you shouldn't play the game. Just like any other game, if you don't think the shooting feels good in the game, then you don't play the shooter game. When you first start playing the fighting game, you should just play the fighting game. You shouldn't try and figure everything out. Maybe you're just playing with a friend, or maybe you're wanting to play matches with some people that don't know how to play the game online or something. I have no idea. Maybe the guy you're up against is an absolute legend at the game. But what's important about that experience is what you take away from that experience. So 1, what did my opponent do? 2, what am I able to block and how am I supposed to do it? And 3, does it feel good to hit stuff? If you are getting even a general satisfaction from hitting your opponent at a base level, even if you're getting your ass beat, then you know that you should pick up that game. Then, where the real meat of the game comes from is that discovery phase, the training mode, the most important part of any fighting game, figuring out what your character and what other characters that you'll be going up against can do. Maybe you're someone who only likes to one-trick one character, or you're someone who likes to learn the entire cast. I love learning all sorts of different characters because I love all kinds of different playstyles. But some people are really dedicated to their craft. I think at a casual level, auto combos are a really important thing to have inside of your game. Dragon Ball FighterZ is extremely popular and did as well as it did because not only is it already the Dragon Ball license, but they also gave a basic gateway for people to get into the game by introducing auto combos as a mainstay. I've talked to all kinds of people who were like, oh, I really want to get into fighting games, but they're just too hard. But they're not too hard, really, they're not. When people who play games like Dragon Ball FighterZ, they see the auto combos and then they play against someone online who does all sorts of cool shit, and then they're really like, well, now I want to do that cool shit too. That's because it's not really as hard as it actually seems. You just gotta put a little more work into it. I think the most recent video that Maximilian Dude uploaded on his channel as of the time of recording this audio sums up what I mean perfectly.
Let auto combos exist? Let auto combos exist. I think people that are just mashing their face on the buttons should absolutely be given cool shit to happen on the screen. As long as that's not the best thing you can do. If the auto combo ends up being the thing that's one of the best things to do, then there's a big fucking problem. Oh, I'm doing this thing, beep, 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 whack. Oh, cool, I did it. And then you go up against some guy that goes beep, 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 it, beep, 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 relaunch, beep, it, beep, 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 it, beep, 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 it, beep, beep, beep. Super, you're like, what am I missing out on? How do I do that?
It's true, you will not like every single fighting game that you play. That much is a fact. Not every game will feel good to you. Just like every Call of Duty won't feel good to you, for instance. But you know, you gotta find the ones that you like, and you'll never find the ones that you like if you don't take the time to try and do it. The best way to get into a fighting game is look at a fighting game that you think looks really cool, and if you don't want to pay full price for it, wait for it to go on sale. Then pick it up while it's on sale and be like, okay, now I'm gonna try this game out. Let's see if I actually like it. If it feels really good to do basic shit in the game, then you should play that game. In conclusion, I probably won't convince that many people watching this video to really get into fighting games, but ultimately, that's not entirely the point. Although, grabbing a couple of hundred players from watching the video itself is a win, because the fighting game community could use as many people as possible. But ultimately, it's going to take licenses, it's going to take cool shit, it's going to take simple stuff to get people interested into playing these games. The way I see it, for instance, if you're a really big fan of Mortal Kombat in general as a license, I say the games are not half bad to get into, especially Mortal Kombat 11 right now. While it's not a game that I really like, it's actually a relatively simple game, and that's what it was entirely built around. While I don't think simplicity is the key to making a good game, I think they captured it in a good enough way to make it good for new people to get into. Same thing with a game like Fighter Z, or now Guilty Gear Strive, where they made the systems in the game a lot simpler for players to get into. But I do know in the long run, what's really going to make a game survive, what'll really make a game last, isn't the animations, isn't the cool music, isn't the detail, but it's how the game plays in the long run. And that's really what's important. If you think a casual game, or like a simple game, is what's really going to make it, that's not what's going to make it. But it is a really good game for newbie and fighting games to get into. So I highly recommend finding some simpler games for you to get into. Guilty Gear Strive, for instance, on a base level, is a simple game. On a high level, it's a very difficult game. Strive is the kind of game I think captures the essence between difficulty and simplicity perfectly. Nonetheless though, that's enough of my rambling. Any of you who took the time to watch the video today, thank you so much. I put a lot of effort into this one. I'm very passionate about the topic, if you couldn't tell. I try to make videos that I'm very passionate about, but this one especially I am very passionate about because I love to see fighting games thrive. I really think they deserve it. They put so much effort into a lot of them. For them to just not do well, especially with the lower player bases that they get over time compared to a lot of other games, like say Fortnite or Call of Duty or whatever, that definitely don't have nearly as much work put into them when it comes to overall characters and actual soundtracks and background detail for a lot of them. It's just sad to see them not be so successful in the mainstream. And that's why I really wanted to talk about it today, because I love them to death. Anyways, that's all I got to talk about. See ya.